And you could have did it. See how I did it. She never apologized. What's up, everybody? I am K. Marie.
I am Lou.
I'm Mary.
And we are
Murked in the Midwest. All right, don't fight us because we know y'all love to tussle. We know that Idaho is not in the Midwest, so we are just trying to figure shit out for the very beginning episode. So yeah, just bear with us.
So our first murder is coming to you from Idaho. The murder, as we know it so far from what has been released, happened November 13th, 2022. The 4 victims, according to what has been reported, were Ethan Chapin, 20, Kayla Goncalves, 21, Zena Carndall, 20, and Madison Mogan, 21. The surviving victims or surviving witnesses or possibly murders, all allegedly, Brittany or Bethany Funk and Dylan Mortensen, and the suspect / possible murderer, Bryan Kohberger, 28. So,
all right, so we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna make sure that we always pay respect to the victims. And so in this case, there were 4 victims. We have Kaylee. She's 21, and she was a senior from Idaho, majoring in general studies at the College of Letters, Arts, and Social Sciences. She was a member of the Alpha Phi sorority. She had planned a trip to Europe and was actually expected to move to Texas after her graduation. She was set to graduate in December of 2022. Yeah, ain't over there, girl? Okay, cool. She was described as the ultimate middle child by her family. She was tough and fair.
She was a force to be reckoned with.
She really was, though. Like they said she didn't hold back on love, fights, or life, and so she was just the ultimate go-getter. And constantly wanted an adventure. She was actually one of 5 kids, and she fell right in the middle. So that's where they're like, she's the ultimate middle child.
Damn, you got
lucky. Then we have Madison, or also known as Maddie. And so her and Kaylee were actually best friends, had been best friends since like 6th grade. They were inseparable. And so Maddie, she was from Idaho as well. She was a marketing major, and she was a member of the Pi Beta Phi sorority. And she worked at Mad Greek restaurant actually with Zena. And so they described Maddie as she was known for her ability to make others smile and laugh with her offbeat and hilarious sense of humor. And it was well known by all who knew her to never let her get hungry. So she was that one. She was that one. She used her marketing skills to run a social media campaign for the restaurant. And then as so it's like Zena, she was originally from Avondale, but she moved to Post Falls, Idaho. She was a junior at the university, and she was majoring in College of Business and Economics. She was also a member of the sorority before going to University of Idaho. She played volleyball, track, soccer, and she actually, for graduation in 2020, she decorated her mortarboard with flower and butterfly cutouts in the words "For the lives that I will change."
Period. Wow.
Okay. So yes. And so as I mentioned, her and Maddie worked together at a restaurant. And so that was her, and they had her little sister they had her older sister actually speak at the memorial service. And so that was really nice to hear her sister words and what she had to say about her. And then we have Ethan, who was actually him and Zena were dating. And so Ethan, they said that, his family actually they're not participating in the trial or anything like that. They said they're not going to go. They said that the trial does not change the outcome of what happened to their family. And the energy that they need to put into the healing of their kids and getting back to a new family dynamic. They're like, we gonna let the prosecutors do their job, and we gonna do our job in our family.
I would be in shambles.
Yeah.
Like, real talk. I wouldn't be able to mentally be
I
present.
think it's really hard to say what you will do in grief. And
Yeah.
I just couldn't even begin to imagine what
Absolutely.
I would do.
Absolutely. And the mom just like, she's like, my son was the greatest kid. And as moms, we all say, I got the greatest kid.
And
but
the best kid ever.
But they're like, everybody loves him. He was warm. He was inclusive. He was that kid that you just wanted to hang out with. Like, you saw him and you wanted to be friends with him. He was like down to participate in anything. He was just a kind person. So he was 20 and he was a freshman from Washington State. He was majoring in recreation, sport, and tourism management. And so those are our 4 victims.
Our surviving either witnesses or possible suspects are Brittany or Bethany Funk and Dylan Morgan.
They did that shit.
Mortensen. So Brittany or Bethany.
Brittany
Bethany, somebody, y'all. Basically was a sorority sister to Mogan and Corndell. They were of the sorority of Pi Beta Phi sorority. And Dylan was a roommate. They were on the first floor of the home during the event. And not much else has been released about them. We do know that Brittany/Bethany's Facebook page is available if you choose to go search for it.
Yes, it is.
Also, it is known that Brittany and Dylan did get matching surviving tattoos.
Cute.
Real cute. Hopefully they didn't.
What they say?
They were with.
We did it.
It's given pact. We made a pact of secrecy or some shit.
Oh Lord! But anyways, it was the actual date, I believe, of the event. So hopefully it is just them trying to process and get through the dark events that happened.
We all process things differently.
We do. And so no one can really say what sorrow, grief looks like. So that to keep a open mind of what is possible and happened is important because no one was there besides the victims, the witnesses, and the murderer, whoever they may be.
Very, very true. Which we about to talk about him now. Mm-hmm. Go ahead, talk about Mr. B.
This is a lot going on. Okay, so Bryan Kohberger was born November 21st, 1994. He is the youngest of 2 other siblings. He was born in Pennsylvania.
My bad. November 21st. That make him a Sagittarius, though.
No, I think that make him a Scorpio.
Oh yeah, because
no, that's
November what?
21st.
Yeah, that makes him a Sagittarius. I done dealt with
a Sagittarius.
I mean, actually, they have good qualities though. They do.
I mean, they do.
Mm-hmm. But sometimes they might get a little cuckoo on you.
Exactly.
They got 2 sides.
2 sides.
So Bryan is the youngest child, being born in 94. His sister Amanda was born in 88, and his middle sister Melissa was born in 1991. The family has lived in Monroe County for years. It's not much background information on like his family. Like they really just chose to keep it minimal. And I thought that was kind of weird because mostly some people would be like, "Oh, my kid's a good kid. Oh, my kid done no wrong.
There's no way he could have did
right. He came from a good family."
And like during the whole like sentencing, the whole going back and forth, like they were just basically saying like he wasn't like looking remorseful or anything. He was
there were some very odd behaviors because most people, I would think, if you are innocent, you would want to defend yourself to the 9.
Mm-hmm. But then like I feel like there's somewhere where it says that how some people are like, I don't have to explain myself. Like the truth will come out eventually. If I know I didn't do it, I'm not finna waste my breath. Like it's the same thing. Like if you in an argument with somebody in your relationship with, I ain't do what you talk about doing. Like I've already told you I ain't did it.
Okay.
And I'm not finna keep going back and forth
But it
with you
was-
about it. Like, it'll come out.
It was also something that popped up on here that I was reading, and it was just saying it was a woman in Monroe County named Dana Smithers. She disappeared and was later found dead. In spite of their decision to call Bryan's parents to testify, because his parents are called to testify on this case as well.
Okay.
The police said it's really no evidence linking him to her, but it's kind of like suspicious. So it kind of like goes hand in hand
with how
exactly, because
yeah.
the family are saying the same thing. They're like, we can't find a connection between him and our kids and things like that. But he has a PhD he was a PhD criminology student. And so he got a little bit of crime background. He was studying criminal justice.
So that nigga know how to get away with shit. How to get away with murder.
Very methodical, possibly.
So,
all allegedly.
And it's really nothing that's like indicative of him like being the murderer, because he just kind of keep a low profile. So,
and didn't you say he only had like a speeding ticket or a seatbelt ticket?
Yeah, the only
some type of infraction.
criminal background he has is that he ain't wear his seatbelt one time, which we know a lot of y'all don't do that out here.
Such a badass. We got Billy Badass here.
So according to the information that is present, we will cite all of these places where we are getting our information for you guys.
It'll be in a notes section.
Yep. But here we go. We're starting on November 12th as things have been recorded. According to Brittany, one of the witnesses, they did see Chapin and Corndahl at a sorority party, or I'm sorry, a fraternity party around 8 or 9 p.m. And then they returned to the house at around 1:45. In that time, also it was recorded that Mogan and Gonclaves was downtown. They were at like this club, and they were there and spotted around 10 p.m. And then they also were noted to be leaving from their place at about 1:30 in the morning. There were video live streams that were recorded of them by a food truck at about 1:41 a.m. And they were just talking, and there was also a Uber ride home that was documented and recorded, and it was about a 1-mile Uber ride. They arrived to their home though at around 1:56 a.m.
Now it say that Dylan and Bethany.
Brittany possibly Bethany.
Brittany possibly Bethany, because she got two identities. Anyways, it say that they got there before everybody else. They got home around like 1.
Right.
1 in the morning. And then it was Chapin and Zena. They got there around 1:45, and then Mogan and Gonclaves got there around 1:56.
So almost
2 o'clock in the morning.
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Okay. So during that time afterwards, inside the home, what was reported, and this is information that are given from the surviving roommates, okay? They were all kind of in their common areas. And this was around between 2:30 and almost 3 a.m. The information that was given during this time is that they were all kind of in a common area of the home. And then around 4 a.m., which I don't know about what's going on in this campus. I know how my DoorDash work, but DoorDash don't be really running at 4 a.m. around here.
Not in that area.
And I mean, this is Idaho. It sounds like it's a college campus, but I don't know. But anyways, around 4 a.m., a DoorDash was received. And this was picked up by a security camera or ring kind of thing. And
Ring gonna tell on your ass.
Will tell every time. So then after that, it says that they were retired to their separate rooms, to their bedrooms. Now, the way that the layout of the home was, it sounds as though it was a 2-story home. They had the rooms that were on the first floor, which were the surviving roommates were on the first floor. And then on the second floor, you have the 2 separate rooms where you had Chapin and Gonclaves were in, and then you have where Zena and Madison were.
Okay, and just real quick question. There were 3 floors.
There were 3 floors. Okay. But the murders happened on the second floor. Correct.
So Corneto's bedroom was located on the second floor, while Gonclaves and Morgan lived in 2 adjacent rooms on the third and uppermost floor.
Okay.
Now, so Gonclaves and Morgan were both found in Gonclaves' room on the third floor.
Okay.
Now, you said the roommate, or the surviving 2, they were on the first floor.
On the first floor.
So then Chapin and Zena were on the second floor. And then the other 2 girls, they were on the third floor.
Got it. Okay.
So this killer had to come past the 2 surviving roommates. He
up.
went all the way to the third floor to kill the 2 girls first. Then on his way down,
hit the other 2 on
hit
the
other 2,
floor.
and then said forget the bottom 2.
We're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that. Yep. Okay, so that's the information that we have according to how the evening went before the murders occurred. Now, according to TikTok, there was an upload at 4:12 a.m. that was by the roommate Corndale, and this was from her cell phone. It shows up that there was an actual TikTok upload.
Yeah, Zena was on TikTok at 4:00 in the morning. I've been there.
Okay. And then after that, that's where we really get into the murder.
Okay. Cool. Okay. So just to clarify, this is what we have so far. So Bethany and Dylan slept in bedrooms on the first and second floors of the rental home. Corneto's bedroom was located on the second floor. And then Goncalves and Morgan lived in 2 adjacent rooms on the third and uppermost floor. So they were found in Goncalves' bedroom, both Maddie and Kayla. I believe so, yes.
Yes.
So they were both found in Kayla's bedroom, as was the dog that Kayla had.
I gotta kill the dog.
Man. So then Dylan, who also slept on the second floor, she later told police in an interview that she opened her door not 1, not 2, but 3 times after waking up at around 4 a.m. to what she thought, quote, unquote, sounded like Goncalves playing with her dog in one of the upstairs bedrooms, which were located on the third floor. She made sure to add that in. It was located on the third floor. So at 4 a.m., she said it sounded like Kayla was upstairs playing with her dog. They was playing fetch.
Okay.
That early in the morning.
Yep.
One thing that kind of threw me off about this whole thing was the front. They said there was no forced entry. So you just went straight through the door. Ain't nobody climbed through no window or nothing like that.
You went straight through the door to the third floor.
Exactly. So it just kind of leads me to believe that some of this shit was an inside job.
It just sounds listen.
Yep.
I can't speak to because I wasn't in the house, but it just sounds real fishy. But you'll see.
And you know, we from the hood, so we know a thing or two.
It get fishier though. Cause wait. So later, Dylan said she heard who she thought was Kayla say something to the effect of, "There's someone here."
No shit.
So she was able to hear on the second. She's on the second floor. Kayla's on the third floor. She was able to hear somebody from the third floor say, "There's someone here."
And she's saying that she thought it was Kayla, so she thought it was a woman's voice.
Yeah, she said she thought that's what she heard, that it was Kayla saying there's someone here. However, investigators pointed out that it could have been Corneto's voice, since records from a forensic download of her cell phone indicated she was likely awake and using that TikTok app at approximately 4:12 a.m. So it could have possibly been Zena's voice from down the hall.
Okay.
She could have just heard something from down the hall saying there's someone here.
But so none of this made her get suspicious?
No, that's not. So maybe Zena heard what was going on upstairs. And she's like, "Hey, somebody's here." She's talking to her boyfriend, like, somebody here.
Okay.
So Dylan tells police that she did not see anything when she looked out of her bedroom for the first time after hearing the voice. When she opened her door a second time, after hearing what she believed was crying coming from Corneto's room, Dylan said that she heard a man's voice say something to the effect of, "It's okay, I'm going to help you." Dylan said that she heard crying again later and opened her door for the third time, investigator said. And then when she looked out, Dylan told the police that she saw a figure clad in black clothing and a mask that covered the person's mouth and nose walking towards her. She described it as a man standing at either 5'10" or taller, who was not very muscular but athletically built with bushy eyebrows. The roommate told police that the man walked past her while she stood at her bedroom doorway in a frozen shock phase and proceeded to exit the home through a sliding glass door at the back entrance.
Why would you leave out the back?
She told police that she locked herself inside her room after seeing the masked individual. So I don't know if she told them that he perceived that he left through the back door, because I'm like, how would you know that if you're on the second floor and he left out the first floor?
Okay, let's be fucking for real.
Now, wait a minute. Okay, now wait a minute. So let's just put this in order of what she heard. What she heard first was she thought the dog was playing at 4 a.m., followed by a woman's voice saying,
"There's someone
here."
Yep.
To then a male saying, "Don't worry, I will help you."
No, before the "Don't worry, I'll help you," someone crying.
Oh, someone crying, and then someone saying, "Don't worry, I'll help you."
And then more crying.
Then more crying, the clad black figure walking with mask, nose, and mouth.
That just so conveniently left out the back door because he must have known about that camera in the front that picked up that DoorDash.
Exactly. So y'all can't see our faces right now or the head tilts.
But they happening.
They're happening. Okay. Okay. So we got the series of events.
Okay. So, while processing the crime scene, detectives found a diamond-shaped footprint, potentially from a Van sneaker, near Dylan's bedroom door. And they said the discovery substantiated her interview comments regarding his path of travel as he moved through the home and out the back door. Why did he walk past her?
And just leave
because
her?
It doesn't say that she was like peeping out her door and she was in her room like just peeping. She said she was in her doorway frozen in shock.
Okay.
If you just walked all the way to the third floor of somebody's house to kill 2 people up there, came down, killed another 2 people, and here's a perfectly good person just standing there frozen, waiting for you. What Kevin Hart say? Just waiting to be stabbed. She's just waiting.
Help me.
And you just walk past her and go out the back door.
Maybe he had his feel of murder. Maybe whoever it was had their feel of murder.
Yeah,
but this is my thing.
Stabbing takes a lot of energy. He was sad.
But if the thing is this, if you know that it's a house full of people scattered out on different sections of the floor, I know if you already spent this time stabbing somebody, because usually people, when they get stabbed, they don't die instantly. It take you a couple stabs. Don't ask me how I know that. I watched First 48. But I'm just saying, like, after so many times, and then you go to the next person, you stab them, you're going to be in there for a little minute. But my whole thing is you didn't get any, like, just looking through his eyes. So you didn't go to every part of the floor and check if it was anybody else in there, because honestly, a lot of the times when people get killed in these situations, people try to kill everybody so there's no witnesses.
Exactly.
So while of a sudden, I'm not saying she deserved to, not live, but I'm just saying, like,
deserve to die, but it was just like, it's odd.
Right. It's very odd that this person was just like,
oh, it opens the doors for questions.
You good. I did what I needed to do.
I'm okay. I'm at my quota.
Also, too, what is just really striking me is very odd about Dylan's behavior is, if you were hearing all these things that were happening and you weren't going to do anything about it, why you keep opening your door? You know what I'm saying? Like, I live in a home, in a multi-generational home, right? Yeah. There'd be all kind of stuff going on. I'm not opening my door a million times to see what's going on. And if I hear something fishy, I guarantee you I ain't opening the door. We're going out the window, boo. Out the window. Oh, yeah,
that's
well,
what it is.
Okay.
So there was somewhere else that it said that Cornell, she actually put up a fierce fight when the attacker set upon her. So she repeatedly was grabbing the attacker's knife so much that she sustained deep cuts to her fingers that her fingers were nearly severed.
Okay.
And so, and then it says that the noise may have alerted Cornell and her boyfriend Ethan, who were on the second floor, to the intruder, because it appeared that Ethan had stepped partly into the hallway where the second floor attack may have begun. So, and he suffered a slash to the neck and was killed in the doorway of Cornell's room. That's what the sources say. Okay. So this is what it sounds like. Man comes in through the back door because he can't come through the front door because he knows about that camera. He goes past the first floor, past the second floor, past the third floor. He said, I'm going to start at the top and work my way down. Mm-hmm. He gets up there and he finds the two girls in the room together. Mm-hmm. They are stabbed and killed. But obviously there's some type of ruckus because Zena is aware and she's like, wait a minute, something's going on. There's somebody must be here. And Dylan also hears some talking and she thought they was up there playing with the dog. Okay. So there's some obvious commotion. Right. It might not be full on screaming, I'm being stabbed. But it's a noise. It's something to alert you that something is going on in your house at 4:00 in the morning. Right. So then he comes down to the second floor. On his way down, he sees Ethan because Zena's like, somebody's here. Ethan's like, hey, it's okay. Because she's crying. He's like, it's okay. I got you. I'm going to go see what's going on. Got it. So I think that's what that second statement that Dylan might have heard was. Is Ethan reassuring his girlfriend, like, hey, I'm going to check it out. He goes out. Murderer attacks him, kills him in the doorway, which is probably the second set of crying that Dylan hears because now Zena has witnessed this. Mm-hmm. But I'm not just going to be crying. I'm going to be screaming. I'm full on like freaking out. But again, we never know how we're going to act in that situation. Right. So, boom. But anyways, Dylan still hears the crime. Mm-hmm. How do you hear them playing with a dog upstairs at 4? The somebody's here. The crying. The it's okay, I got you. But you don't hear the commotion between the killer and Ethan in the hallway.
Or maybe it was really fast. Maybe he sliced it really quick.
Because he did slice his throat. It could have been quick. Mm-hmm. Okay, it could have been quick. So
I mean, exsanguination, if he hit the right part of his, like, say he hit his jugular, I mean, you can.
But she didn't say she heard no thud. She didn't hear him fall to the floor. Nothing.
Maybe he slid down quick, like slowly.
It could have been.
He could have glided down slowly.
So she heard additional crying, and then the killer goes in to attack Zena. Zena puts up a hell of a fight. Mm-hmm. She has no reports of that, though. She doesn't report hearing Zena putting up a fight. I wonder was Zena
out of the bed?
The door is open. We know that much. Okay. So if you can hear on the floor above you, somebody playing with a dog,
you probably.
But you can't hear a full-on physical fight, ruckus, like you say, whatever going on the same floor as you with the door open.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some questions.
Why is that not in your report?
Got some explaining to do, sugar.
She put hell of a fight up because it says that her fingers were dang near severed. So he finished with Zena. Zena dang near whooped his ass. That's why he walked past Dylan. He was tired from fighting Zena. He was like, you know what? I'm done. Mm-hmm. He walked past her and left.
Okay. All right.
Okay, now into the court proceedings. Okay. One thing I want to say, I know that it has not been a lot of media, like video coverage of this situation, but from pictures and the few videos that have been circulating, I look at body language. Yes. Mm-hmm. And I'm not going to say everybody who has been convicted of a murder like necessarily shows that they're remorseful, but you can just kind of like look by people's eyes like they don't give a shit, you know? And I had so many thoughts like while looking at pictures and videos of deliberations and stuff. And I'm just kind of like, how do you just sit there like knowing that you killed somebody? And I'm like, what did those people do to you in particular for you to just go off them.
Well,
if he did, because that's right. Everybody is considered innocent until proven guilty. But I just did not like.
My man's guilty. He got an alibi.
He did that shit. No, but but it's just I don't know how you sit there like. Everybody has a conscience, but some people don't have a conscience.
Well, no, because you do have to get into the understanding that there are people who are truly psychotic.
True.
Yes, you have psychopathy.
Sociopaths.
Yes, sociopaths who literally have no empathy, no remorse, and that is not something that can be fixed when you are at that point. When your personality is at that point, you don't actually feel any remorse for others.
What's crazy is that, like you say, he could be sitting there, he could be a sociopath, and so he doesn't have any remorse for others, but it doesn't necessarily mean that he did it.
Right.
He's just a sociopath. He might have did something else. But I mean, he could have did this. But I don't know.
We don't know yet.
I'm just saying, like, there are a number of reasons why
he could be that way.
He could be that way. And it goes back into the saying of, we don't know how we would act in a situation until we're in a situation. You have all those guys that be acting like they so tough, and then we see the videos of them crying.
Right.
When they be cool until
snotting and crying, sliding down the wall.
Until the sentencing comes and the judge like 90 plus 90 plus 90 plus 90 years. And then it's like,
woo! And also, too, thinking of it,
you get a life sentence. You get a life
sentence. Playing the devil's advocate here. If this man truly is innocent and did not commit these murders and had absolutely nothing to do with it, it could be that he is in complete shock as well.
Yeah.
That it could be like, how in the world is this happening to me?
Because honestly, they didn't, like, this went on for weeks before they even found, there was no suspects. None. And then, 6 or 7 weeks later, they're arresting this guy, saying that he's a suspect.
And they arrested him all the way in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, and saying that we have evidence. We have DNA evidence. We won't say exactly what DNA evidence, but we have DNA evidence, and we have video of his car in the neighborhood. And because he likes to take them drives. And his cell phone being used in the area and stuff like that. And it's like, but this didn't come for 6-7 weeks later.
So this is the thing about when people commit these heinous murders and shit. One thing I never understand, when all the evidence and stuff comes back, it's always, we found a fingerprint. We found this person's DNA. Maybe while he was stabbing somebody, something touched something.
There
or
had to have been a lot of DNA if Zena was fighting back.
Right, and if she was fighting back, maybe she scratched him. Maybe his DNA is under her fingernails.
Maybe she cut him in the process of fighting for that knife.
Right, and so my thing is this: when people commit murders, just trying to get into the mind of them, I don't think that they look at every angle, because so much shit can come back on you. First of all, your DNA is gonna always come back to a match. You're in a database. They look at blood spatters. They look at everything, and just because it's a blood splatter from a murder scene doesn't necessarily mean it has to be that person in particular. It just baffles me how people don't think when they do these things.
What really gets me, and it's not even so much, because some of those instances is a lot of, you have to play all these different angles like you're playing chess, right? But what I really don't understand is when you go to commit a murder, why do you bring your cell phone? What do you need your cell phone? If you came and decided you were going to murder, why do you have your cell phone? Leave it at home, people.
Siri,
stop bringing your cell phone.
If you're gonna do that shit, go get a burner phone.
Hello. Okay.
Siri, how do I get to this address?
Right. Print out like we used to do in the old days. Print out a MapQuest, people.
Your phone is pinged to the closest tower of where you are.
You imagine? Sorry, just picture it like a murderer getting into his neighborhood and pulling out this big ass map out his pocket.
What are these motherfuckers live?
I will tell y'all, listen. Somebody that used to always tell me before he would even let me drive a car, I had to learn how to read a map. I had to learn how to change my tire.
MapQuest.
No, not a MapQuest. We had to have an atlas in the car, girl.
Yeah.
We had to be able to understand. It was crazy, but whatever.
But my whole thing is you using anything that can closely match you to a case. Yes, using your phone, Googling shit. You can literally, they can go through your phone. you get your phone confiscated, anything like that. They're gonna first thing people look at is what was in your Google search.
Right. What was your history of your search?
How to stab someone, locations on to stab someone, how to clean up a murder scene. You know,
you can get all of this from a physiology book, anatomy physiology book, just for the
And
record.
these are tips on how to get away with murder.
Well, like my whole thought process
Watch
is
some Law and
when
Order,
y'all clean up shit, why y'all keep cleaning up with bleach?
Right. Hello. Peroxide
Or like if
dissolving.
it's a tile or something, like you think they're not gonna pull that towel up and get blood from in between the tile? You gotta be quicker than that.
And I'm sorry, real quick correction. Earlier, I was calling her Kayla. I think her name's Kaylee.
Yeah, it is Kaylee.
It's Kaylee, so I apologize.
Correction.
Okay. On May 22nd, Bryan had his arraignment, which was where he gets to say if he is guilty or not guilty. At the case, he did not even bother to address the judge. His attorney did speak on his behalf, but the judge put in his plea of not guilty. Now, many have speculated to why, in this circumstance, he did not speak. And assumptions, of course, can be made, but no one really knows anyone's mind or what they would do in a situation. But it was very interesting and a little odd that he did not speak at this hearing. Then we had the preliminary hearing, which is where evidence is introduced and where we have gotten a bulk of what actually happened presented, because there has been a strict gag order on this case since the beginning for releasing of details of what actually transpired and happened in the home. So on June 22nd, information was released as far as what happened, as far as the victims, how they were placed, where they were, wounds, information like that. In this, one of the surviving victims, Mrs. Brethany, whatever her name is,
Brethany.
She was actually subpoenaed to appear for this case. Mm-hmm. Her attorney, prior to this date, requested that she not be brought to appear for the subpoena, but later on, after, she agreed to be interviewed by the defense. Now, for me, this is kind of odd and rings one of my little spidey senses of suspect.
Spidey senses are tingling.
A little tingle. Because, like, why would you not want to be in court where you can give your information
to basically
get to the truth.
And to clear yourself.
Not just to clear yourself, but these people that you live with, you had to have some relationship with them.
One was your sorority sister.
Yes. But
it could have been jealousy too.
But to get to the truth, though,
mm-hmm.
If you are, I guess, completely innocent of it, you have nothing to hide. I'm sorry. My first priority would be getting to the bottom of what happened to my friends.
Yes, mm-hmm. And of course, there's going to be some element of fear because you know a murder did happen. So if you are innocent, of course you're going to have some fear. But I'm sorry, you kill my friends. Listen, it's time for you to go to jail.
Exactly. And you want to protect and defend your friends, regardless if they're alive or dead.
Right.
Even if I don't have any helpful information, I'm going to go and say that.
And so what really does bother me about this, of her getting her attorney to get her out of that, because what I did find in our research of this, Idaho has what I find is weird law that allows you, when you are not a resident of the state of Idaho, they cannot compel you to actually come to give statements if you are not an actual suspect. So a witness, if you don't live in Idaho, they can't compel you and make you come to give your testimony.
And her actual state of residence was Nevada, right?
Right, Nevada, because she's from Las Vegas. Now, in Bryan's case, because he's the suspect, so they're thinking he's, the murderer, they can arrest him and make him appear, but they can't make her appear. But then she goes back and decides, oh, well, I'll give this material evidence.
I took some time off.
But what made you want to go,
for the defense? Like, you should be with the prosecutor. You should be defending your friend. You should not be like, I'm going to go give evidence for the defense. Get the fuck out of here.
And then you're just going to sit up there and run off. That's the part that I didn't like. you dipped. I get it. You probably dipped out of fear.
Mm-hmm.
But it don't look right. Even if you didn't want to stay in the house, you could have got to a hotel, stayed with a friend, something else. You just dipped off. Do you know for how far Idaho and Vegas is?
Y'all, and one thing that we did leave out as far as what happened in that home, we forgot one crucial part of information that will help y'all kind of see where we're coming from. Of this is real sus. From the time that the murder actually happened to the time
around
that
4:25 a.m.
Right, from around 4:30 to the time that 911 was called.
Can y'all guess what time?
It was 8 hours that went before 911 was even notified.
That's a whole work shift.
But here's the thing. Before they called 911, they called over friends because one of the friends seemed unconscious or they thought they had passed out or something, because when 911 got the call, there was multiple people talking, telling them what had happened. The call took place at 11:58 a.m. the next day. So now let's remember, Dylan and Bethany were both at the house. Now, Bethany didn't get no statement or nothing, so we don't know what event she saw or didn't saw. For what we know, she was on the first floor, didn't see nothing.
Mm-hmm.
But Dylan says she saw a person. She heard some type of commotion, and she locked herself in her room at 4:30 in the morning. And then at 4:30 in the morning, when she locked herself in the room, you know there's a stranger, whether it's a murder or not, there's a stranger in your house. And there's a stranger
danger.
But anyways, there's a stranger in your house, and you don't call the police or anything. You call your friends.
This reminds me of
So
Cat
hang out at
Williams.
the
Murdered who?
Right. So hang out at the murder house, and I'm just sorry. Like, how can you confuse unconscious with throat slit in the doorway?
Man, like,
that's not the same thing.
And then,
No, ma'am.
how long did it take for all of you and your friends to discover that, oh, we originally thought it was one person unconscious, but no, there are now 4 people dead. It took 8 hours,
I guess. I mean,
and in this 8 hours, Bethany never came upstairs.
She said she ain't in it.
She ain't no.
But my whole thing is, so you just remain in a house full of dead bodies?
No, ma'am. I'm out of there.
I'm out. Like, as soon as that motherfucker left out, I would have been like, all right, let me make a call real quick. Even if you didn't say anything, even if you called 911 and hung up and kept calling it back, just in case you thought that
they're going to come.
They're going to come. That's just like you got on your Apple Watch and you hit your hand real hard, it's going to detect that you fail.
And they're going to call you back because they're going to be like, now, what is going on? I've had it happen several times at work. My phone is in my pocket. I accidentally hit the emergency thing. It calls. They call me back. They're like,
are you okay?
Is everything all right? If you don't respond, they send somebody.
She ain't called nobody but her homies.
The last people I would think about talking to is friends. Fuck that.
Oh my God, my friends were murdered. Let me call my other friends.
That's what it leads me to believe, that she had a little bit to do with it. Again, like I said, until people are convicted, you know. But it just looked a little funky. Like, who does that? If somebody come in my house and wipe out my friends who are staying in my house, and I'm the only person in the house alive, I hear a noise. Like, I get it.
How am I supposed to get out the house?
Right.
I'm just gonna lock myself in my room.
Even if I'm too scared to leave, you know, you still so you could get on a TikTok. You can call your friends. You can text your friends like, "Hey, girl, what's up? Come over. Let's just avoid these top 2 floors. You know, we good though." Like, that's some weird shit to me.
It is real weird.
I'm just saying, like,
she clearly
did that shit.
She may not have did it, but maybe she. She may not have did it. Maybe she kind of maybe had him do it, or involved in some way.
Maybe it was a romantic involvement in between those two.
It could have been a lot of things.
It could have been.
What I will say is,
this is college.
I won't say she did it. I won't say she involved. I won't say she had it done. I will say the shit don't make sense.
It really don't.
It don't.
Can't make sense out of nonsense.
Like, that's the only thing. That's a fact.
That's
now, everything else is our opinion. Allegedly. That's a fact right there. That don't make sense. I don't care who you is.
Yeah. So now to this defendant, Mr. Bryan. He says he wants everyone to know that he could not possibly have committed these murders.
My man got an alibi.
Listen, honey. He said he couldn't have done it because he was out driving, but he was out driving by himself. And you have to know that he was out driving by himself because he does it often.
Yeah,
So,
all the time.
Uber everywhere.
It's believable, you know? He does it all the time. So,
I mean, I will use that alibi from this point on.
I drive every day by myself, so I couldn't possibly commit.
There was no way I could have killed them because I was out driving alone.
Alone. All by myself.
Real sus.
Hopefully there's like a toll booth or something that could have captured all of this said driving alone. So that's his statement that was presented by his attorney. Now, for the next part of this trial, because obviously it has not come to completion, he has not actually had his full day in court. His next actual day in court will be October 2nd. And at that point, hopefully we will have more information and maybe he will be exonerated if he really was out driving and they can find any validity in this said alibi.
I still want to know about that sneaker print. Like, did they get any like shoe size? Did they match any shoes? You know,
but
like
they said Vans, and I'm thinking like it had to have been the actual print because Vans are actually a rounded toe.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
I
it
think
had
they
those
were talking
little
about, like, the
waffle
pattern and okay.
like pattern on
Okay.
it, and then I think it's a Van at the bottom of the shoe. Probably depends on what type of shoe, but that's neither here nor there. But I don't know, like especially because this happened last year. Like I feel like it should have been more updates because they never tore down the house yet. The house is not
that's the
scheduled to
part.
be torn down.
Yeah, they're gonna demolish it.
I think that's weird though.
It is.
It's
Do
weird.
you
It
know
should
how many
not happen during the proceedings of the court
until
Right. It
somebody
should not
is
happen.
convicted?
Yeah,
that house
until-
should remain.
because it's still evidence,
Yes, it is evidence.
regardless of what the case may be.
The whole house
Until-
is evidence.
It's still evidence.
Exhibit A, B, and C.
Right, really though, and so it's like my thing is that I find it weird because they're like, people are saying, well, nobody wants to live in a house where there was somebody killed or somebody died. And I'm like, if every house where there was a murder or somebody died was demolished, we'd all be living in new builds.
People die in
Absolutely.
houses every
all
day,
the
B.
time. All the time. So maybe that's something different that Idaho does because they do a little different up there. But it will be very interesting to see how the story unfolds, what else is brought to light, if Brethany, has some
This
more
man.
connection.
Like you said, I just want to see how this unfolds.
Absolutely.
I want to see what information she provides, what because they're asking for anybody that might have footage of any area,
surrounding
areas. And then the surrounding areas to turn it in, anything. So I want to see what this evidence is that they have, I know they're saying they have some DNA evidence on the knife and things like that.
Because they found the sheath of the knife,
but not the knife itself.
But not the knife.
Right.
But that still could have fingerprints on it.
Or it could be evidence that they're holding back until court case.
Right.
Exactly.
And so that's why I'm like, I just want to see how this all unfolds.
Now,
because it's a weird story.
It's a very strange story. Also, too, one last thing that I really do want to bring to the forefront is, again, the victims, their families that are clearly mourning and really going through it with the loss of their kids, brothers, sisters, daughters, whatever you want to call it. But the people who have been fully impacted, and even the suspect's family himself, I couldn't imagine being a murderer's or suspect's family member and having to deal with what comes with that. But
I
the
think
dad
they've had like some type of statement of, we're just kind of like being fully cooperative.
Yes.
They're very much so like, we are sorry for the 4 families that was affected by this. And they're just kind of like requesting their privacy at this time. But again, I think it's hard for everybody, all the families involved.
Yeah.
Especially if they're saying that like he grew up kind of odd, and
well, yeah, you were looking at
I was just reading where it said something like in elementary school he was
a little heavy set
and was kind of teased and stuff, and so he like lost weight and became more aggressive and kind of actually like that's when he became more of an outcast. You know, like there were some people that said like when he came back, he looked like a completely different student and stuff like that. And so I just want to see where this goes. And like I said, I think it's hard for everybody involved. You know, we sit here and we talk about Bethany and we talk about Dylan. At the end of the day, we don't know what happened, what could happen, and these girls could have just really just experienced something truly traumatic. So even with them, you know, everybody is kind of like dealing with this in their own matter. But we're gonna see how this play out.
And we will give you updates.
Yes, we will. Yes, we will.
So that so far concludes the case of the Idaho murders. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, you have a case suggestion you want us to cover, email us at murkedinthemidwest@gmail.com. Bye.
Bye.